Hi guys, Emperor of Red here with What If Jin Mori Was I DxD. So hope you enjoy. Now let's begin. I'm home, Mori announced as he opened the door to his apartment. But like always, there was no reply. Not even his echo. That's how small his living area was. It had a simple kitchen in the corner and a bathroom a few feet away. There was a large window in his living room, which was the middle of the apartment. He had a simple coffee table and some cushions for sitting. A rather small flat-screen TV was plugged into a socket next to the table. Mori dumped his giant rucksack down against the living room wall, but not before taking off his shoes. He opened the zip and dived into the bag, digging out his studying material along with the money he made that day. After placing the items on the table, he walked over to the food cabinet and pulled out a tub of instant ramen of a Korean brand. Then he filled his kettle with water and turned it on while flavoring the ramen. As he waited for the water to boil, he went over to the fridge and nabbed a small bottle of banana-flavored milk, consuming it in a single gulp. "Woo tilde, those are the best," he exclaimed while throwing the empty bottle over his shoulder and into the trash. The whistling of the kettle told him that it was ready. Mori quickly made his ramen and brought it over to the table, eating the noodles while counting the day's profit. 3457110 yen, said Mori. Wow, that's almost a new high score. With that out of the way, Mori slurped up the rest of the ramen, letting out a burp as he went over to throw the empty tub out. After washing his hands, the blue-haired boy soaked a washcloth and proceeded to wipe the coffee table until it was sparkling clean. With a satisfied grin, he laid out all of his books on the table. They varied in thickness and topics, ranging from biology to maths, to geography, to classical Japanese. The latter Mori couldn't understand no matter how many times the teacher explained it and how hard he tried. Honestly, he was just an exchange student. His Japanese language skills were only great for modern conversations, but not the country's equivalent to Shakespeare. Well, no matter, Mori wanted to pass his classes. With a quick, light wake-up slap, Mori went into his studying mode for the rest of the night until he went to sleep. Speaking of sleep, Mori's bedroom wasn't anything special either. There were only two notable things in that tiny room: a small clothing drawer and a mattress with a quilt and a single pillow. 2 days flew by, and it was now Friday. Ise looked back towards the blue-haired boy at his desk, diligently taking down notes. Mori didn't have his rucksack with him today, as he had 3 rest days per week. Ise then glanced back at the blackboard. The white chalk writing was being erased by their teacher as the final bell of the day had rung a minute prior. The brown-haired teen had already finished packing, and his perverted friends had already run home to watch the newest DVD in Motohoma's collection. A sweat drop rolled down Issei's head as he watched Mori speeding up his note-taking as he raced against the teacher's blackboard wiping. Mori lost. Maybe he shouldn't have taken that toilet break 5 minutes ago. Mori slumped back against his chair, exhausted from all the writing he had to do in those 300 seconds. He felt like he had just taken an exam and started to shake his wrist to get the blood flowing back in. After accepting his defeat, the blue-haired boy began to pack up his books. Issei didn't know what compelled him forward as he walked up to Mori's desk. "Hey." "Huh?" Mori raised his head, large innocent eyes looking up at the fellow teen. "Oh, hi how do kun. I'm sorry, but my services aren't open on Fridays and weekends." "Ahaha, that's not it," Issei laughed and placed down his textbook in front of Mori. "I just thought you might need to copy this." Mori flipped open the book and found a page of the notes that he wasn't able to jot down. "This is, can I really?" "Yeah, sure, go ahead. I can understand your struggle," nodded Issei. "Thank you. I'll finish this as quick as I can." Mori beamed as he immediately began to copy the notes into his book. "Your next errand will be free." Issei scratched the back of his as he gave a light laugh. "Really? Thanks." The brown-haired teen went back to his desk and sat down to wait. He glanced back at the blue-haired several times and remembered the day Mori arrived at Q. several months prior. The door slid open as the teacher walked up to the podium. The chatter of students instantly stopped as they focused their attention on their teacher as he cleared his throat. "Class, I have an announcement for you," he begun. "You have all been notified about an exchange student coming to this academy, but you've never been told which class and what year he or she would be assigned to. And it is by luck that our class, Class 2A, has been chosen by the principal. So everyone be nice and let us welcome our newest member." The teacher raised an arm towards the door and started clapping. The students followed his example, and applause rung around the classroom. "You think it's a guy or a girl?" one student asked his desk neighbor. "I hope it's another girl, maybe one from East Europe like Ria's Gremory. It has to be a cute boy this time, right? Then we can ship him with Kiba Tilda," a girl in the front row squealed at the thought of boys' love. Then he walked in, and the males of the class's faces dropped. On the other hand, the girls' expressions all brightened up. Wearing the cute gym uniform and a head of messy blue hair, Mori strolled in, standing next to the teacher podium. The teacher gave him a nod. "Please introduce yourself." With a smile, Mori bowed and greeted the class. "Good morning. I'm Dan Mori. I hope we can all get along." Mori finished with a bright grin, which caused the girls to squeal and the boys to growl. "Dang it, another pretty boy taking our women. OMG tilde, he's so cute tilde." The classroom was split on the appearance of the mysterious student. "Dang kun, there's an empty seat in the back left corner. That'll be yours until the year is over." Mori bowed at the teacher. "Thank you very much." Issei, like every other male in the class, couldn't hide his scowl at the sight of another visually appealing male in the class. No, school. Kiba already reigned at the very top, and this exchange student could potentially rival the blonde in looks alone. "Ah, great, he's heading this way," Issei muttered with folded arms. Mori walked straight past him and sat at the desk behind Issei. The girls of the class, gazes, followed the blue-haired boy as he traveled to his new desk. Issei glared at him as the newest student sat down and started taking out his books. Mori's eyes flicked up while placing a pen on his desk and noticed the brown-haired teen's grouchy expression. "Good morning," Mori beamed with an eye smile and a short wave. With a quiet huff, Issei averted his gaze and looked back towards the blackboard. "Present." Nearly half a year later, Issei's opinions of Mori had softened. The exchange student seemed to have no interest in pursuing the opposing gender and was generally a nice guy. Mori's reputation during that time also plummeted drastically, dropping from the second prince of Kyo straight down to official errand runner. Some of the students of Kyo, both male and female, practically saw the boy as a slave. "Done." Mori slapped his textbook shut and returned Issei's book while packing his bag. "Again, thanks for that," said Mori as he got up and extended his hand. "Really, it's no problem, I've been there before." Issei smiled as he shook it. A thought crossed his mind and maybe, just maybe, they could become friends. "Welp, I gotta go home and make me some ramen. I'll see you around Hayao-du-kun." Before he realized it, Mori had already left the classroom. Issei blinked and then picked up his bag while racing after him. The boy was fast, that's for sure. By the time Issei caught up to Mori, they were already at the front gates. "Wait, hold up, Mori." Mori turned around to face him. "Something up?" Issei scratched his cheek as he caught his breath. "Nothing. I just recently noticed we take the same routes home, so I was wondering if you're cool with walking together. It gets boring with no one to talk to, you know." Mori simply looked at him and blinked a few times. Issei waved his hands out in front. "If you don't want to, I understand." "Nah, it's cool," Mori responded. "You let me borrow your notes and you look like a good person to me, so come on." "Right," said Issei. The two teenage boys began their journey back to their respective homes. They chatted about the usual things boys their age would talk about: games, anime, manga, webtoons, and Jackie Chan movies. Issa had to admit it had been a while since he had a conversation with another teenage male that wasn't about breasts and butts. It was a bit refreshing. They also quickly moved to a first-name basis, as Mari didn't like all the formalities and found it annoying since they were the same age, 17, although Issa was older by a few months. "So Mari, where are you from? Overseas exactly?" asked Issa. "Me? Well," Mori placed his hands behind his head. "I was born in China but moved to Korea when I was 6, and now I'm here to finish high school." That was what Mori told everyone who asked. Truthfully, he couldn't remember much from anything before last year. He woke up in a hospital a year ago and the doctors diagnosed him with amnesia. At the facility, they ran some tests on him and discovered that he remembered some general information like his name, Dan Mori. He also had the ability to speak both Chinese and Korean fluently, which surprised the doctors. Thus, by utilizing this knowledge, they quickly felt his life slipping away. He couldn't believe that his life would end like this, killed on his first ever date. If only he could die in the arms of an all-rounded beauty, someone like Ria's Gremory. "Damn, why am I thinking of her now?" thought Issei as his head went limp to the side, catching a glimpse of his spilled internal red liquid. "My blood. It's red, the same color as her hair." Just then a bright red light illuminated the night-fallen park. A crimson circle with an unknown sigil formed on the ground. Standing in the center of the circle was a girl with scarlet hair. "So you were the one who summoned me." Ria's Gremory stepped out from the circle, which dispersed shortly after. Issei's vision became blurry, but from the voice and the general shape of the person standing over him, he could tell that it was a girl. "It looks like you're dying, your wound." "Oh my, it looks like something intriguing is happening to you," Ria said as a small crimson object appeared on her hand. "I see my suspicions were right. If you're going to die, then I'll take it, your life that is. From now on you'll live as serving me." Issei's ears had stopped functioning. It felt like his entire body was about to shut down, and as his world darkened, the last thing he saw was red. After a few minutes and several consecutive bright red glows, all 8 pawn pieces had melted into Issei's body, fusing with him and reconstructing his DNA. Ria's was about to teleport them to his house when in her peripheral vision she noticed something. Orange sneakers and a hoodie several shades lighter than her hair. Curious, she stood up too and walked towards it for a closer inspection. Her sapphire blue eyes widened. "Dan Mori," she gasped. Splayed out on the cement next to the fountain, the blue-haired boy laid there with his eyes closed and lips slightly parted. "Is he?" Unable to read his aura to check if he was dead, Ria's knelt next to him and hovered 2 fingers in front of his nostrils. "He's not breathing." Then, with the same fingers, she placed them gently next to his windpipe, applying a slight bit of pressure. There wasn't a pulse. Ria's quickly checked the veins on both his wrist and once again, no pulse. As the final measure, the heiress bent down and pressed her ear against Mori's chest. "His heart isn't beating," she murmured while coming back up. Ria's was just about to summon another evil piece when she heard the packing of the evening joggers who exercise at the park after sunset. She looked between the 2 boys laying on the ground. She could try to rush the resurrection process on Mori, but the sound of the steps grew louder, and Ria saw the silhouette of the joggers in the distance. With a click of her tongue, she quickly made her way to Issei's side and teleported away, but not before taking another glance at Mori. "What?" The bright light of her circle faded. "What?" Natural, nocturnal sounds fell upon the park. "What?" Gasp. Mori sat up, breathing heavily with a hand clutching his chest. "Ah, that really hurt," he groaned, using the rim of the fountain to assist himself up. Who was that? What was that? The events that occurred flashed by his mind, and Mori's dark eyes stretched as he ran around to the front of the fountain. "Issei," he cried out worriedly. He expected to find a body or at least blood, except there was nothing there. Mori's eyes darted around in confusion. Was what he saw reality? Or did he drink one too many cartons of banana milk? Wings the color of the night sky, and a spear going through Issei, but there's no evidence for it. This place is totally clean. Unless, new, but what if actually, wait, would that work? Hey, you okay, man? A voice broke him out of his thoughts. Mori looked up to see a young man wearing a blue tracksuit with earphones hanging around his neck, standing in front of him. Huh, Mori murmured. I saw someone lying on the ground, so I came as fast as possible, the runner explained, pointing at the spot where Mori laid a minute ago. The blue-haired boy blinked, then scratched his cheek sheepishly as he replied, Oh yeah, I probably just slipped on some water. I'm okay though, thanks for asking. Well, if you're sure, the man started lightly jog away and waved goodbye to Mori. I better get going, go to the hospital to check just in case. Will do, Mori returned the wave as he watched the man's silhouette disappear deeper into the park. He sighed, and with a mind full of questions counteracting other questions filling his brain, Mori decided to head home for the day. But not before grabbing his groceries that were still lying by the tree. He spent hard-earned money on those. The morning rays of the sun pierced a crack in the bedroom curtains. Mori's eyes twitched and slowly peeked open. As always, the white paint ceiling greeted him. Rubbing his eyes and blinking the sleep away, Mori sat up slowly, his hands still tightly gripping the quilt. A calendar hung on the wall reminded him that it was the start of a new week of school, and by forcing back an intense desire to smother his face on his pillow, Mori heaved himself up to get ready for school and work. He trudged over to his dresser and randomly pulled out several items of clothing. A white long-sleeved shirt, the gray track pants, socks, and a crumpled black QO blazer. His normal light red hoodie was going through its weekly wash. Mori removed his pajamas, which was a monkey onesie given to him by the doctors as a get-well-soon gift. The blue-haired boy glanced at his reflection in the window. Aside from his light blue bed hair, he saw the scars down his shoulders and upper back. Mori let a hand run across the scar on his shoulder as he stared at the window. No matter how hard he racked his brain, he just couldn't seem to remember how he acquired them. Shaking off his thoughts, as too much of it would be detrimental for his mental health, Mori quickly equipped the day's outfit. Right, Mori exhaled as he tied the blazer around his waist. It was more comfortable that way. The school said that the blazer was compulsory to wear, however. They never said how to wear it, so Mori took this advantage to customize his appearance a bit. As he tightened the blazer's sleeves, something slipped out of an inner pocket and landed between Mori's legs. The blue-haired boy bent down to pick it up. It was a forest green sleeping mask. According to the doctors, the sleeping mask was found tied around his wrist when the people who found him unconscious by an estuary brought him into the hospital. Mori didn't have any use for the mask as he had no trouble sleeping, but he didn't want to throw it out as he thought that it might belong to someone close to him, someone who he couldn't remember. So he simply threw it into his dresser for safekeeping. Mori gazed at the mask for a couple more seconds and shrugged. Might as well, he chirped as he put the sleeping mask on. The fabric kissed his forehead and his light blue bangs hung loosely in front of it. After a quick breakfast, Mori slipped on his sneakers and flung the rucksack onto his back. As he exited the building, he could vividly remember black feathery wings and Issei dying. Man tilde, what a weird dream, Mori yawned as he began his trek to school. That's the last time I go to sleep after 11. 10 hours of sleep is the best for your mental health. That was Mori's philosophy. Unless you were having a Jackie Chan movie marathon. That was the only exception of the rule. Issei slowly strolled towards the academy gates, with his bag slung over his shoulder. Matsuda and Madohama had different routes to school, so the teen walked to school by himself. He flipped through his phone searching for a certain contact. He furrowed his brow as the word empty, appeared for the 20th time since he woke up. This is just so, Issei mumbled as he tried to search for the name. Yuma, once again. There's just no way she's just a figment of my imagination. I clearly remember buying her that bracelet. My 45 yen is missing, so that's just further proof. Issei sighed and slid the phone back into his pocket as entered through the gates. Speaking of dreams, what the heck was the one from last night? It felt so real. Was it lucid? Was that my secret fantasy? Og, I can't be that messed up, right? He decided to hurl these thoughts to the back of his mind and focused on walking. In front of him, bobbing up and down, was the unmistakable figure of Dan Mori. A smile grew on Issei's face as he jogged forward to his side. "Yo," he greeted. "Good morning, Isse," Mori replied, slightly averting his eyes and staring straight at the main school building, as the image of the brown-haired teen being impaled flashed past his mind. "Hey, I had a really weird dream last night," said Issei him. "Really? What happened?" Mori turned his head around, his curiosity got the better of him. "I took this really hot girl out on a date. It was going exactly like what I've seen on TV and movies. And then when we took a stroll around the park, the one with the fountain, then she asked me, 'Would you die for me?' Then had this kinky magical girl transformation and black feathered wings sprouted from her back." Mari didn't like where this was going. It was too similar to his dream. "Then she pulled out a pink spear and threw it into me, and get this, I died," Issa explained as his hand gestures waved around. "I was lying in my own pool of blood when there was a flash of red and I woke up. Weird, right?" "Why, yeah, really weird. But all dreams are weird one way or another, right?" Mori replied as an unseen bead of sweat rolled down his temple. "I probably shouldn't say anything about mine being 75% the same. He'll probably freak out. Heck, I'm already freaking out," Mori thought as they neared the large glass doors. "Well,